that we're still having a lot of issues around its transition from 844 to CBC. Now the kind of conversations we're having here, with only months left before the very first cohort crosses into senior secondary. This is not the time we should be having this conversation. We should have had it much earlier. From an educationist's perspective, you are an educationist as well.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Fred. I want to acknowledge that I'm a professor, I'm an academic. I am also a DVC of a university. So that means that I'll speak from the point of view of knowledge. So, there is no need of doing research. Mathematics is a foundational course. And being a foundation course, how do you build a house without a foundation? Why is mathematics a foundational course? It gives you three very important things you need in life. One, critical thinking. That's why when you are given a mathematical equation to solve, you critically have to think, because that's asking a very complex question. Problem solving. And thirdly, logical reasoning. Who on earth doesn't need those things? And tell me which subject will give you those things. Can Kiswahili give you those? Can English give you that? So without that, you cannot be able to do well in English. Because if you don't have the foundation, in fact, Jesus says that if you build your house on quicksand, it's just a matter of time. So mathematics is the root cause of all things. In fact, if you look at all our, I'm sure, Mr. Gakwaya, when you're in school, you found out that mathematics used to have more sessions in school. The mathematics teacher never gets sick. If PE was to be cancelled, it was to be given to mathematics teacher to continue teaching. The ones used to get preps in the morning. I'm sure Fred, you remember those preps at 5 in the morning or 6. It's mathematics teacher. So if you replace it with what? The issue is not removing, replace with what? In fact, I remember there was this discussion whereby you have to replace mathematics with physics, but still physics could not fully replace mathematics. So the foundation that gives you, like I said, critical thinking, who does not need to be a critical thinker? Problem solving and logical reasoning is needed. But let me tell you, Fred, let's forget about all these things. The incompetence in the CBC execution has been the problem. That's why you are saying that until now, you saw Machogu was the CS for education when they began implementing it. You tell me how competent Machogu is to implement education. People are even questioning his papers. Look here. Now, Ogamba, when I listen to him every time, I don't think he inspires any child to go to school. You know, when you saw people like Professor Magoha as CS education, you feel you need to study. But when you see the CV of some of those ministers, that's why I am not just drumming support for academic qualification, but a CV of a minister does not even make someone want to advance education. So how can that person be able to execute this? And do you know the most developed countries, for example, where we're having solutions for India? India are the best in things like mathematics, engineering. That's why the back end of the IT of the world sits in Bangalore and Hyderabad. That is in India. For us, how do you want to solve problems? Then secondly, Kenya cannot operate in a vacuum, in isolation from the world. When you want to get admitted to Harvard for a PhD, you do what's called GMAT, Graduate Admission Test, or GRE. It is more mathematical. So how can Kenyan students compete in the global space when they have no knowledge of maths? In fact, normally maths and English. English is a smaller part of it. And they test logical reasoning and sound reasoning. And Fred, let me tell you what. And that's why I'm having this thing to testify. I grew up from a very poor family. Until I did GMAT test and I scored 96 percentile in GMAT, my future was not there. When I scored 96 percentile, I did not apply. It is the university who told me, would you like to come and do PhD here? Then I said yes. They paid my education, they paid my accommodation, they paid my ticket, and I managed to do my PhD and master degree in the 4th best business school in the world. Now, if we tell me that I want to remove maths from the curriculum so that another person's child cannot have the chance I got, then this is hypocrisy. Okay. And that's why, for me, I still tell you, the most important problem we have in Kenya is that we have a government that is grossly incompetent, clueless, therefore, and grossly corrupt, that they are looking at things. And let me link this to international education. If you drive along Waiyaki Way, you drive along Uhuru Highway, you see advertisement, come and study in Australia. Along Uhuru Highway, I've seen 29 advertisements. You see this in town, even if you come to Haile Selassie Avenue. Why? Someone is messing up with the education system, and those people can take their kids outside the country, and we are helping other countries and other curriculums against ourselves. Now, if you look at Kenyans who are operating private schools in Kenya, they are suffering because there is a lot of confusion. So somebody goes to take education to Germany. That's what we talk about. We are importing education right here in Kenya. Okay. Because when you get a German system, teaching your kids here, you are paying money to a German system, you are actually importing education, and that costs parents a lot of money.
Focus on that risk, Bwana, the fact that there appears now, because of the confusion and some of these proposals which are a bit controversial on mathematics, there appears to be a general